everyone, it's great to see you. I'm doing another unboxing today for 2 more trees, and in a way I know this looks a little silly because when I take out a tree that is dormant it looks like a little twig. However, I'm really excited about these 2 types of trees and I want to tell you about them, and actually having things shipped while they're dormant is probably a really good thing for the trees, so you might decide that you want to do this too sometime. So this order, once again, is from Mr. Maple, and I have my open on top here, so I'm going to cut in. And these are both going to be 1-gallon trees. So we know 1-gallon trees are pretty much on the small side. Okay, oh goodness. Here we go. So there's actually 2 different kinds of trees here. Here's my first one that looks like a giant stick. And the second, oh, there's 1 lone leaf left on here. Okay, so, oh yes, and Pickle has already found that 1 leaf. This is another kind of Japanese maple, and this is actually a rare red type of Japanese maple that is variegated. It is called Lily Ann's Jewel, and it actually is a new introduction. Now, the really neat thing about this tree is that it is highly variegated in that it comes out with this red leaf, and it has a lot of pink variegation on there, and I'm really excited about that. Now, it is hardy for zones 5 to 9, but we'll have this pink and white variegation. In the midsummer, it's going to turn a little bit more green, so it's green and red with the pink and white variegation to it. And boy, I'm really excited about this. Now, this particular tree, after 15 years, if it's planted in the ground, can get to be about 10 feet tall. So I'm going to be keeping it in a pot for a while to determine if I want it in the ground or if I don't. But, you know, I think it's just going to, you know, I love pink. So look at the pictures here. It's amazing how this beautiful tree looks. Now, there are going to be branches that grow in without the variegation. And like for many of our selectively bred trees that are variegated, you cut out the parts that don't have that variegation on them. That is one of the things that you need to do to keep them with that prized look that you want. Now, the other tree I have here is not a Japanese maple. This is a Kousa dogwood. I have a couple Kousa dogwoods in our yard, and they bloomed fabulously this year. And I just think that, you know, their flowers, they're disease-resistant trees. They're on the small side, but really cute. Really cute. Okay, Pickle, that's probably good for now. But just lending that backdrop in the garden of flowers. They bloom about 3 weeks after your typical American dogwoods. They have a nice long bloom time. But what makes this one special, and this one is called Hanrose's Radiant Rose Pink Flowering Chinese Dogwood. The Radiant Rose Kousa really is a bright pink. So the Kousas that I have now are white. I love them. I do have one that's suffering. So I figured, you know, it's probably at the end of its life. I'm not taking it down until I absolutely have to. But I thought, you know, I'm going to get this one started. I'm going to put it in a pot. I'm going to get some good growth on it. And one day when I do need to replace it in the ground, I will be ready to go. So I'm going to be planting these up in 2 small planters. Remember, you want your planters when you are getting a tree like this to be about the size of the pot they come in. And I'm going to overwinter them in the shed for a little extra protection. They probably don't need that, but I can do that, so I figure I might as well. Okay, let's get them potted up. Okay, you cannot eat the tree. Oh no, I'll have to vacuum him off. So Dan already punched some drainage holes through here. These trees do need to stay well drained. I'm using a regular potting mix. Any potting mix that you have will be just fine. And you're going to notice as I'm taking these out, you know, they're pretty loosely packed in here. The roots aren't really holding the whole 1 gallon pot together, but that is fine. They will settle into these pots just fine, make it through the winter, and then come spring, I will get to see what they look like all leafed out. Now, if they're a little on the loose side like this, you may choose to put a little stake in next to them to keep them just making sure that they stay growing upright like you're hoping. Move a little over here, and as I'm doing this, you want to make sure that you are leveling the soil right up to where it is in your pot. Okay, I'm going to try to carefully take that out. This has a pretty good root ball going here. That's great. Take out some of the soil that I have. Okay. And because I want to make sure that the top is even, notice how deep I'm putting this in here, so that's going to be pretty comparable to the way it was shipped. And I can always repot these if I decide after a few years it needs it, but I think that this is going to be just fine. Okay. This looks good. And if you have a tree that is grafted at all, you want to make sure that the graft is above the dirt. These look terrific. Now, Mr. Maple always says that you should give them a good watering when you first plant them. So that will be the next thing that I am going to do. And then they're going to go outside and they'll be just fine for the winter. Come spring, when they're leafing out and I have all these great variegated leaves and everything, I will be showing you how they look then. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.